Yeah, so if you're feeling bored with skateboarding, just understand there is no reason to do that, to get bored. There's an abundant variety of things you can do regardless of how the skate park is laid out, right? A lot of times I've came to the skate park and I felt like there's nothing to do, but that's just because I had a limited perspective, a limited bag, and a limited approach to what I could do with the skate park. So generally when I felt full of energy, you know, it was no problem to skate the gap, the hubba, or even these two plateaus. And I would always ignore the rest of the skate park, and I wouldn't ever really just warm up. So some examples of me expanding my perspective on it, or my approach, was, you know, sometimes before a session or a coaching session here at the park, you know, I don't really want to get hurt. I mean, get a break a sweat on. I don't want to try anything where I feel like I'm gonna go into a battle, because I want to be ready for the lesson, and my energy needs to be you know, tuned for that. So that day, one of these days, what I did was just kind of practice doing the board slide on this 6-stair rail, right? Whereas before, I would quickly write it off, or it wouldn't even be an option. Now, I'm not saying you got to look for obstacles to skate, but what I'm saying is you got to think about what are some other ways you can skate the park that you don't usually do, either because you see it as just something too easy and not worth your time, or because it kind of has you feeling a bit intimidating. So you can also look at progression as making things a bit more comfortable. You can also look at progression as building a flow and understanding what it means to find a flow at a skate park where you feel like you have none in. And so right now, what I'm doing is progressing, because as I do some board slides on this 6 rail, you know, I'm slowly making that more comfortable. At one point, it was very comfortable. At this point in time, not so much. But it makes things interesting. It gives me something to look forward to, which is a comfortable feeling that I get when skating it. And, you know, it keeps me occupied. It keeps me skateboarding. The last thing you want to do when you're at a skate park is just kind of sit down and think, or fool yourself into thinking there is nothing to do. There's always something to do, and that's the beauty of skateboarding. No matter how many hours of the day or how long you've been skating, it's impossible for you to do every trick, right? Because there's not only an unlimited amount of tricks on the board, but there's an unlimited amount of applications to those tricks. So having said that, we're just gonna get started, and I'm gonna do, I'd say, like 10 board slides on this, and I'm gonna give you some insight on how I'm feeling from number 1 to number 10. Okay, I'm thinking you could just you can switch sides, you know what I mean? Well, let's see if it's waxed. Yes, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, just switch the angles.
Yeah.
Last time I came and I tried the first board slide, I slipped out because I just hadn't skated this rail in a long time, so I didn't know what to expect.
It's a solid rail, huh?
And so, yeah, it's a solid rail. So this happened first try, and it shows me that putting in the work as I was waiting for the lesson really helped kind of get me dialed in for the next time I'm gonna try it. Assuming it was soon, right? Because you got to be consistent, or have a you know, like, not such a delayed reference point. So for example, if I would have skate this rail a year ago, there's a good amount of delay or space in between then, where if I were to think about how I skated this a year ago, it's kind of hard for my body to catch up, right? I can have the memory, but that feeling, there's nothing there. I can't really reference it because it faded away. But because this was, I think, this Saturday, and it's Tuesday right now, it was only a couple of days, so I feel very in tuned to the board slide. I'm gonna do a board slide, kickflip in, board slide. about skating things that seem kind of boring or things that you would write off is that you're getting iteration in there, right? So not only am I getting reps, but I'm also learning how to make it more comfortable. I'm making a line out of it, right? I did a kickflip to board slide, so that helps me challenge the setup after the flick, or just how to land stably into the bank so that I can do the board slide, right? Because it's that increases the difficulty level just a little bit, and enough for it to be beneficial in the sense of we're iterating upon a very basic trick that I've had for 16 years plus at least, right? So that's 2. We're gonna do 3. This time I'm gonna do a tray flip on the flat, kick flip, and then a board slide. So I'm gonna add one more trick.
Oh.
Whoa. Okay, again. Wow, you see? Okay. Okay, so that's 3. What was cool is I still found a way to challenge myself. I actually did get challenged. And now, it's not just about the board slide, but it's also testing my conditioning. And this is the cool part about it, right? Just because you go into something thinking you have it all planned out, all figured out, in the sense of, oh, I know what to practice, allow yourself to be influenced by other ideas that might come in amongst that iteration. So it's a little different if you want to focus on a trick and you want to specifically practice one. This might not be the route, or it can be where you're doing a trick before the harder trick kind of gets you feeling confident, warmed up. And so the application really depends on the skateboarder, how comfortable you feel with the trick you're trying, and basically how inspired you are to skateboard, right? So really what I'm trying to get at is there's unlimited amounts of room for inspiration. You can do tricks before, after, you can combine your tricks. There's always ways to challenge yourself, and personally that's one of the ways I get inspired most, is just by thinking of ways I can challenge myself. So even if I'm here doing a front feeble, I just went from there to there. Even if I'm doing a front feeble, maybe I'll begin to do a board slide and then a front feeble. So we're gonna add that front feeble into it, okay? So board slide, front feeble. Again, the cool thing is that skateboarding is so abundant where you don't have to stay limited to the trick, to any trick, right? You can also move on. The whole point of this is, or the context of this is, oh, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, let me just start. So everyone says it, but it doesn't make it any less true, right? It shouldn't lower that statement where you just got to start. If you start, you're gonna naturally start to challenge yourself, or want to challenge yourself based off of the influence of ideas, or how do I say this, your imagination, your natural imagination that's gonna spark up or start to fire because you're at the skate park and you're moving, right? Damn, I was trying to be all deep and remember a phrase where it's like something with, you can't start something without movement. So I definitely forgot what I was gonna say, but what I'm trying to say is you just gotta get up, right? If you're sitting down, right? Dude, it smells so bad here. I think the waste, the lake, the ducks had a rough Wednesday. Okay, what I'm trying to say is if you're just sitting down and kind of just sitting with the idea of like, oh, I'm bored, you know, I don't know what to do, then you're already starting off on the wrong, or you're not starting off, right? And so what you need to do is just get up and do anything, right? And then once you do something and you really don't feel it, then you kind of can pretty much like ask yourself, okay, I gave it a chance, do I want to go now? And if that answer is genuinely yes, then maybe it is time to go, you know, just sit down or save it for another day, right? You know yourself best, but don't lie to yourself and say that you don't know what to do with skateboarding, because you do. You just need to get up and start somewhere, okay? So I think that was 5, right?
I don't know.
I think that was 5. So I'm gonna do board slide, kick flip, no, nollie flip, and then front feeble. So I'm gonna add a trick. And so this is what I mean. You just gotta start, and then things start to pop up. For me, I didn't even think I was gonna do a line. I thought I was just gonna do 10 board slides. But allow yourself to be moved by the imagination and inspired, so that you can what do you say, like manifest that into action? Yeah, right? Manifest it into action. I barely made it. That was actually a pretty good challenge. I was gonna say tray flip, but I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna go too fast for a tray flip. But anyways, start somewhere. Wait, how much time do we have?
12 minutes.
I just don't want it to heat up. That's why I'm like, it's hot out here, huh? Okay, so I came here, right, with the idea to do a trick, which is crook, nose manny, and if I do this real quick and get off, then I'm gonna do nollie flip off, right? Or nose manny, revert. What do you think I should do? Crook, nose manny, revert, or crook, nose manny, nollie flip?
Well, the nollie flip is more surprising.
Really? Okay, so I'm gonna do nollie flip out.
Revert in the middle?
Yeah, revert in the middle.
Oh yeah, that one's more surprising.
That one? Okay. So I can't promise I'll land it here, but I'm gonna give it a few tries. And the reason I'm going into this is because I didn't really think, you know, I didn't really feel like doing this trick. I want to do it, but I didn't feel like it. And a lot of times I'd make the mistake, get to the park and go straight to the trick instead of giving myself time to warm up and really feel the flow state starting to how do I say this, like starting where I didn't allow myself to get into the flow state. And so what I've learned from that is whenever I get to the park, I maybe don't even touch the obstacle that I'm going to skate in the warm-up, and I just kind of allow my body to warm up with other tricks, because otherwise if I go straight to the obstacle, I might begin to get in my head and be like, oh my god, this feels so hard and it's just a 50 and I want to do a harder trick. So but what gives me what lets me think that I can land that harder trick if I can't even do a 50 comfortably? And that really comes from you not being in that flow state and inspired. Once you're inspired and you skated other things, then you can give yourself a chance, or then it's going to be a bit more in your favor to give yourself the chance to do a more difficult trick. But pretty much you got to feed your soul with skateboarding, with a little bit of skateboarding, and enjoy the fruits of your labor in your warm-up, right? The whole point of a warm-up is to warm up, really get that like fun aspect out of it, in my opinion, and tune yourself into something a bit more difficult where you can challenge yourself and not allow it to burn you out and be kind of tired of skateboarding for the day. right? That way you don't put all your eggs in this basket of trying the hard trick, because you gave some eggs to the warm-up, but you still have some left over to try the hard trick. So I'm gonna do crook, and I'm gonna see how I feel landing onto the nose manny, or just landing, and if I can soften the pop out, I guess. So I'm thinking you can start same thing, like roll in.
Yeah.
Okay. You can still roll.
You've done it before?
Huh?
What do you mean roll? I was rolling.
You still roll towards me. Why do you you don't have to get off so suddenly, you know what I mean?
Oh, because you're, yeah.
But what was your question?
You've done it?
No, I've never done this. But what I was gonna say is, I feel way better than I did when I did the first curve. To intro the video, and so that's a great sign. But I really want to try to land on my board, on my nose, but softly. Where once I start to try the nose manny, crook nose manny, I'm a bit more lighter on my foot. I'm engaged the way I need to be, and it's a bit more flowy instead of forceful. You know what I mean? Like, you could just ride. Like, if I don't land it, you just can cross. You get what I'm saying or no?
All right then.
Yeah. Because otherwise, if I land it, you can just go straight to the... Okay. You see what I mean? Like, you could don't stop. Because you get what I'm saying?
I guess not, no.
And I'm making a point out of this because he's always complaining about his knees hurting. And what he's doing right now, look at me.
Yeah.
What he's doing is stopping like this.
Okay.
That's a lot of pressure on your knees, especially if you're up here. If he was down here and he stopped, then it's okay. But what I'm saying is just let yourself go without stopping. And then once you're next to me, you stop. Because by then he slowed down a little bit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, when you get into a trick, your brain's racing. But I wanted to get that out of the way. It was gonna be bugging me the whole video. Because I care about him, you know? Like, his knees shouldn't be hurting the way they should. Same thing goes for you. If you have a lot of pain in your knees, it's because other muscles aren't being activated.
I hyperextended my knee.
Huh?
I hyperextended my knee.
What does that have to do with anything?
It's gonna be worse.
What are you talking about?
Since I hyperextended my knee.
No, like, so, we're gonna get into another topic. Look, whether you sprained your knee, hyperextended it, whatever, if you continue to just put pressure, only use one part of your leg to absorb impact, it's gonna continue to hurt. It doesn't matter if it was a worse or better injury, or you know, you can easily make things worse, even if it was just a small ankle sprain or a small knee, knee extension.
Well, it's because they might not understand why you're bringing it up.
No, well, I'm bringing it up because your knee's always hurting.
I know. They don't.
So that's why I'm bringing it up. And he's stopping, not in a good way.
There you go.
Yeah. Is that your phone?
No.
So I didn't even get onto the crook that well. So that was not even a fair try. And the point of this video is not to, be inspired so that you can learn or land a difficult trick. It's just so that you're allowing yourself to stay consistent on the board. Things don't always need to give you such a big dopamine hit. It can be a little bit of enjoyment with a warm-up, a little bit of enjoyment with a difficult trick, and then you just start to open yourself up to like, oh damn, like this, I had a really good session. Maybe I can go to, you know, come here again and then add on to that warm-up or add on to the difficult trick. Regardless, you're in a state of mind where it's a bit more progressive because you have that abundance mindset of, oh, I can really skate whatever I want and however I want to. You know, of course, if you want to skate a 2-flat 2 but you can't even get off a sidewalk or get off a little curb, then that's a little wishful thinking. What I'm trying to say is you can get yourself there if you're inspired to actually skateboard. If you're unmotivated and you're bored and you never get to doing anything else aside from you know, aside from that sidewalk, it's because you pretty much stopped yourself from inspiration. You stopped yourself from the, you know, the enjoyment of skateboarding simply because you didn't do anything but stay bored, right? You got to start moving and kind of move towards that inspiration, right? It has to be an intentional thing from yourself. It can't come from, it could come from other skaters skating with you and this and that, but it's not really an unlimited resource. That's limited. You know, you might think because every day your friends show up too, you know, it's always going to be there. It might not always be there, and so in those cases you want to make sure that that inspiration is coming from within instead of relying on something a bit more external. Okay, I think I'm gonna try this like 5 more times because I don't really want to make it a video on like landing a trick. I actually felt like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for this one. So this next one, I feel just so much more comfortable. I think I'm actually gonna go for it. So we'll see. So I definitely did tap. You heard it, huh? Did you see?
No, I didn't see.
Okay, well I definitely did tap. But like I said, if I didn't even make the first step and move and start to skateboard, even if it's things I've already done, those small challenges wouldn't have led to a very quick warm-up, and I would have been stuck just thinking like, oh my god, I'm bored, this is boring, I can't skate right now because I don't feel like it. You're not gonna feel like it, especially if you're not moving. So you gotta start to move, right? Let that be the main thing you take away from this video. Just start, in the form of start moving or start skating, to be more specific. I'm gonna give it one more go. Wow, I almost basically did it. Should I go again or should I? What do you think? How much time do you got?
23.
ADHD, huh? Okay. All right. I was using the board the wrong way. Oh. Look, let yourself go.
It's downhill, so I just keep going faster.
You won't go faster.
I tried it already.
Okay, look. You can go. That's not gonna have you go faster. It's gonna slow you down.
All right.
Obviously, I'm not saying go to the fence. You know?
All right.
You gotta work for your body, or work with your body in mind. You can't ignore your pain, right? If you ignore your pain, it's just gonna scream louder and louder. So listen to your pain. Navigate your skating around it. Wow. Okay. So we're basically gonna leave the video there because I already feel like I want to get into this challenge, and we're gonna film it for Instagram. So if you want to see this video or that trick landed, check me out at at Carlos.Torres, double S on both. And if you have any questions about coaching or lessons, profe.carlos, profe.carlos. And we can talk about what that looks like there. Or if not, just leave a comment. Let me know what helped you in this video, or any ideas that may have came up because of the topic. Regardless, we're going to be making so much more videos. So I appreciate you watching this one, and hopefully you're back for the next videos to come. Peace out.